Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Did you know your American neighbor will lose their house? Frightening, isn't it? What it means is that the value of a house is about to see a downfall and the number of people maintaining a position to afford a shelter is going down as well. In this video, we're going to discuss why we're seeing this and what indicators are there as proof of what's coming in terms of the housing sector. So stay tuned till the end to know more. Let's start by looking at how the enormous 2008 housing market crashed. The housing market bubble burst in 2008 due to several factors that converged to create a perfect storm, the Great Recession. At the heart of the crisis were subprime mortgages, which were high-risk loans that were given to borrowers with poor credit. Many of these loans were adjustable-rate mortgages, which meant that the interest rates could rise rapidly, making it difficult for borrowers to keep up with their payments. When the housing market began to decline, many of these borrowers found themselves with homes that were worth less than what they owed on their mortgages. This made it difficult for them to refinance or sell their homes. At the same time, the economy was burdened by a huge consumer debt load, as many people had taken out loans and credit cards to finance their lifestyles. As job losses began to mount, many people found themselves unable to keep up with their debts, further fueling the fire. But how does it concern us in 2023? There is a possibility that we could see a similar crisis occur. While the economy has rebounded from the pandemic, there are concerns about rising inflation and a potential economic slowdown. Prices have gone way out of hand, and most of us struggle to keep our boats afloat. Additionally, there are signs that the housing market may be overheated, with home prices rising rapidly in many areas. If these trends continue, it's possible that we could see a repeat of the 2008 crisis, which nobody wants. Home prices have been following an upward trajectory for quite some time now, and this rise is almost vertical, as you can see here on the median sales price of houses in the U.S. It rose from $322,000 in the second quarter of 2020 to $468,000 as recorded in the third quarter of 2022. Whenever the experts and the general public thought it couldn't go higher, it did. This process has led many Americans in a situation where they're unable to find affordable houses. The highest shortage has been seen in the state of California. In a recent analysis, it was reported that there is a shortage of almost 1.5 million affordable and available housing units. The states that have a similar story are Texas, New York, Florida, New Jersey, and Illinois. The country is currently experiencing steady population growth, albeit at a slower rate compared to the previous decades. This growth is putting a strain on the country's housing market, with construction not keeping up with demand for affordable homes. According to recent reports by Fitch Ratings, this strain is notable and may lead to significant consequences for the economy and the social fabric of the country. This means that many Americans are being priced out of the housing market, which can have far-reaching consequences for their financial stability, quality of life, and overall well-being. Historically, it's been seen that you need a higher supply of houses on the market than demand for prices to go down. The more houses that are available to buy, the more competition there will be, which always brings down the prices. As the pandemic surged, the housing market got starved from 2020 up until 2022. This is because sellers stopped listing their homes for sale. The inventory of unsold homes nationwide was at a record low, with just under 870,000 units available for purchase. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of a 1.5-month supply of available homes. Sellers weren't hosting open houses and even individual tours because everybody was afraid of getting infected. Now, this meant the buyers had to pay increasingly high prices for homes, and sellers could gain immense profits. But the low inventory of houses isn't the key indicator of an upcoming crash. What is it then? We'll talk more about that, but before we do, please show your appreciation for this video by clicking on that like button and subscribing to our channel for more amazing content. Now, let's get back to the video. The most important indicators for an upcoming housing crash are high inflation, job losses, and increasing interest rates. Let's talk more about each one of them now. First up are the crazy high inflation rates. As per the data, it loomed between 7.5 to 6.5 during the last year, peaking at 9.1 in June. This was a record high CPI in nearly 41 years in American history. For those who don't know, CPI, or Consumer Price Index, is the broad measure of what Americans pay for everyday items, ranging from eggs to electricity. The CPI being at 41 means energy, food, and housing prices skyrocketed in June. If more part of a household income is going towards buying groceries and paying the bills, how will people pay the mortgage and buy a house? In fact, a recent survey conducted by the Payments last December showed about 51% of Americans in the above 100,000 income bracket are living paycheck to paycheck. This number has gone up from 41% in December of 2021. Earning $100K was considered a high-range income, but I guess it's not anymore. Tech companies in the U.S. made headlines with their large number of layoffs. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon have laid off more than 70,000 employees during the last year. The industry has seen a string of layoffs as companies look to cut costs and streamline their operations in order to weather the economic storm. The main reason for this action has been to reduce the costs and expenses involved in running the companies in the face of rising inflation. Some big banks have also fired tens of thousands of employees, citing similar concerns. The Wall Street Bank fired up to 3,200 employees in the month of January this year, which equates to almost 6.5% of their total workforce. Morgan Stanley laid off 2% of its staff in December, and Bank of New York Mellon is going to cut just under 3% of its workforce during the first half of this year. This situation puts people under even greater pressure as they become jobless, whereas the expenses keep increasing. And finally, the Fed has been on the interest rate hike since last March and raised it 7 times in 2022. This will continue this year as well, as the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, has clearly briefed the media about it. The sad thing is he didn't give any time as to when this increment will cease. With rising interest rates, house mortgages are also increasing, which means people have to pay more, along with fighting other battles. The housing market hit its highest in 2022, and since then it's been following a downward curve right now. It's up almost 70% since dipping to its lowest in January this year. The 30-year fixed mortgage rates went down from 6.48% to 6.13% at the end of January. But this didn't last long, and in February it rose to 6.32%. Homes right now are taking longer to sell, spending 33 days on the market in January, which is up from 26 days in December and 19 days last January. Inventory levels are also at a record low and prices are still high. If we say that houses aren't affordable anymore, it won't be a false statement. The average percentage of household income that should go towards mortgage payments has been around 40%. But in recent years, this figure has increased to 60%. This means that people are left with lesser money after paying their due mortgage payments, which is highly unsustainable for a thriving economy. To counter the situation, incomes should drastically increase to meet the needs of the people. According to the data, the average income needed to buy a single-family home in the U.S. in the fourth quarter of 2022 was $107,107, which is more than a $30,000 increase from the figure being $75,969 in the fourth quarter of 2021. What was once an achievable goal for middle-class families now seems like an unattainable dream, and the future doesn't look great either. To address this issue, policymakers and industry leaders will need to find innovative solutions that can make housing more accessible and affordable for all Americans. So, to conclude the title of this video, high inflation, increasing interest rates, and mass layoffs can, in fact, cause your neighbor to lose their house. If you like this video, we're sure that you'll like other informative videos on our channel as well, so do check them out. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. In the end, thanks for watching.